Liberal Viewer presents.
This is the visual fisking of the Liberal Viewer, Part 2.
So I don't usually make videos solely about other YouTubers, but after Lee Doran uploaded a video to his How the World Works channel purporting to show one of my videos was dishonest, I got requests from several longtime subscribers to respond with a video of my own, even though I actually responded to that video within hours of its upload.
Wait, we need a timeline here. On September 3rd, Liberal Viewer cuts my quotes and makes a very dishonest video about me and even questions my motives. I then fisk the video the very next day using the entire footage point by point. Liberal Viewer then spends the next 2 days making totally irrelevant comments that has nothing to do with my fisking video. On September 9th, I give commentary on several news stories, including the fact that we have a lunatic in the White House named John Holdren. Liberal Viewer then points out that I made a mistake saying that John Holdren wasn't confirmed. I make an immediate correction, but then he uses quote cutting on John Holdren's quotes to make him look like he wasn't saying what he really meant. Then, all the way on September 17th, Liberal Viewer makes a video about me bringing up stuff I said back in March and doesn't address anything. It was a joke. And I'm going to now fisk that video as well.
Lee still has not replied almost 2 weeks later, and which you can now see memorialized along with a player for his video at tinyurl.com/htwwmisleads.
I didn't address those comments because they were already addressed in the video.
I don't think I need to revisit each point, but I will repeat that Lee's so-called fisking video failed to address the two main criticisms I made of Fox News in my video, which he was supposedly fisking.
Not only did I address those points, but I focused mostly on the lies and distortions that you said about me and your quote cutting. And I also focused on the fact that you misled your viewers about the timeline of events.
Not responding first to my criticism that Fox News failed to tell its viewers the topic of Obama's speech was succeeding in school, even though that's the topic about which kids would be answering questions.
Again, as I said before, the topic is totally irrelevant. Students should not get their educational achievement through the president. That was the concern of the lesson plan, as I say here. Just because the president can say whatever he wants that the topic's going to be about, what matters are the classroom activities that are assigned to the students. And there's good reason to be upset because this video was just shown in classrooms because some teachers have really poor judgment.
I pledge
to be a servant to our president
and all mankind, because together we can, together we are, and together we will be the change that we seek.
And if teachers are going to be showing this in the classroom, parents have a right to be concerned about the curriculum.
And also, not responding to my criticism that Fox News also failed to give the most current information to viewers, even though ABC News got more current information from the White House more than an hour earlier.
And as I said before, Fox News had no reason to be looking at Jake Tapper's blog 1 hour before their show.
In fact, Lee even failed to respond to the one criticism I made of him in my video when I used him as an example of over-the-top rhetoric on the right because of his comparison of the actions of the Obama administration to a Stalinist dictatorship.
Okay, this is also false. I did address that point. The Liberal Viewer cut my original quote to take me out of context. Here's the original context again. The Department of Education has a list of things that the students should do after Barack Obama speaks. One of those things is to write a letter to themselves, asking them what can they do to help Barack Obama. Not how they can improve their grades, not how they can get into college, not how they can be a better person, how they can help Barack Obama. I'm sorry, this has never happened in America before. It only happens in banana republics and Stalinist regimes, where young children are taught to thank their dear leader. You see, in context, I was talking about the curriculum, where students were asked to write a letter to themselves on how they could help Barack Obama. That has never happened before in America. And now, since I already addressed all those 4 points, watch how Liberal Viewer brings back old arguments that I made in March, and I'm going to fisk those as well.
It also fits into a pattern both before and since that makes me think Lee just doesn't care about being honest with his viewers. I first noticed this tendency last March.
So let's follow his argument so far. He claims I didn't address his points when I did address his points. And I proved he was dishonest as well. He claims I didn't address those points, and therefore I must have a pattern of dishonesty. That's all we have so far.
When Lee got in a fight with one of my YouTube friends, Thunderfoot, and while others have made videos exposing how thoroughly Lee lost that argument, in one video in that series called Expert Ignorance, Lee caught my attention when he argued that spending on health care does not fit into any of the enumerated powers of the federal government in the U.S. Constitution, as you can see here.
Police is a legitimate function. Military is a legitimate function. Healthcare, however, that's not enumerated in the federal government. Therefore, the states are responsible for it if they see fit that they want to spend money on that. Pay attention, this is my favorite segment of this video.
But when Lee tried to use history and constitutional law to back his argument up, those are two subjects in which I put substantial study, so I knew he was making factually and logically erroneous claims in this clip.
This is going to be hilarious. Wait for this. Just read quotes from the father of the Constitution, James Madison. James Madison said, and I quote, "I cannot undertake to lay my finger on that article in the Constitution which granted a right to Congress of expending on objects of benevolence the money of its constituents."
Now, because I've studied history and constitutional law, I immediately knew that Lee's argument was both factually and logically erroneous, and
yes, so have I, and this is going to be hilarious.
He was factually wrong to claim he was quoting Madison when he was actually quoting a paraphrase of an argument Madison made in 1794 when the U.S. Congress was considering giving federal money as a charitable donation to Haitian refugees. And as I also pointed out in the comments, Lee's argument was logically erroneous because if you read the account of the 1794 debate, someone answered Madison's question by citing the General Welfare Clause in Article 1, Section 8 of the U.S. Constitution authorizing the expenditure, and the U.S. Congress ended up passing the bill to aid Haitian refugees. So the evidence Lee cited actually argued against his position, but Lee never posted any correction to his factual or logical errors and never even replied to my comment.
Well, I guess today is your lucky day. Liberal Viewer just argued the following. He concedes that James Madison did argue that the Welfare Clause did not apply to what the government was doing. The government did it anyway, and therefore he claims it's constitutional. That's an awesome argument. Now, despite the counter-argument against Madison in the legislative history had nothing to do with claiming welfare is what we believe welfare is today, let's try it on some other things that the government has done, just assuming that it's true, like the Alien and Sedition Act. Thomas Jefferson made the argument that Congress wasn't allowed to do what it was doing under the Fourth Amendment. Congress did it anyway, John Adams cited it, and therefore it's constitutional. The Patriot Act also. Liberal Viewer made the argument the Fourth Amendment doesn't allow it to happen. George Bush signed it into law anyway, and therefore it's constitutional.
Well, when the president does it, that means that it is not illegal.